refreshing my page. Oh, it says we're live. Hang on. Hello, Facebook world. I'm going to do some checking here on my end. And Joanna, if you want, like I said, you can have my page pulled up too. I got to get my specs out. Hey guys, if you're joining live, hello. And if you're catching the replay of this, you might want to fast forward. Yep, we're good. It's on my page. Let me share right quick. I was going to say, you might want to fast forward about 20, 30 seconds and just let us do some housekeeping stuff here for 1 second. Group, Broker Talk. What's up, Broker Talk people? If you're watching this, that's the group I'm sharing it into. All right. I think we're good to go. You let me know when you're good on your end there. Does it show up on my page for you?
No.
Oh, weird. I have to refresh. If not, you can always share it later too. No big deal, but
Not a problem.
You've got a fan club. I know people want to interact and cheer you on. So, all right. Well, if you can keep doing that or not, I'm going to get started here for those tuning in, as well as those, like I said, watching the replay of this. This is really fun. This is actually round 19, otherwise known as episode 19, but we like to call it rounds because this is the official Broker Showdown. And you might ask, well, what is the Broker Showdown? If this is your first time tuning in or checking this out, you're doing the doom scroll thing and saw this crazy looking dude and this amazing powerhouse leader. You're like, what's that? Well, what the Broker Showdown is, it's real simple. Each of us, myself and Joanna here, get 3 questions. Anything goes. There's no really rules to the game, so to speak. And yet neither of us know what the other person is going to ask. So it's fun, it's edgy, you got to be quick on your feet to think. And that's what the Broker Showdown is. And we love, love, love featuring top leaders doing big, amazing things, pure servant-driven hearts. And Joanna is no exception to that. And we'd love to just spotlight them and let everybody know who they are and gain some of their insight and wisdom. So that's what the Showdown is. Before we get started, obviously, I've got a very special guest with me here, Joanna Carson, and her and I have known each other for several years, just wicked smart, and her heart is as big as they come, pure, full of gold, and she has a true passion for serving others in this industry and leaving it better than she found it. I know that for sure, and that is why we are aligned in other ways. And so, Joanna, I don't want to steal your thunder, but Remax Precision, right? Out of the Des Moines, Iowa area. So referrals, hello, look her up. And she is the director of training and development for Remax Precision there in the Des Moines, Iowa area. So that being said, why don't you give us your version of your introduction, a little bit about you, and then I'll do the same. We'll jump right in.
Perfect. Yeah, so Joanna Carson, I am coming up on my 28th year in real estate. And I always laugh because, when you get into real estate, you kind of trying to like fib about, that you've been in it longer. And I feel like I might start fibbing and I haven't been in it as long as I have. But I met Jake back in January of 2018. And so it's just been super fun to watch, the growth and to be a part of that. Like we've kind of come in and out of each other's circles, several times during that time. But I sit in our leadership group here at Remax Precision. We have about 300 agents. Our numbers kind of come in. We do a little over 1.5 billion annually with that. And I get to spend most of my time, I say I'm kind of always agent forward. So things in our company where it impacts the agents or its visibility to the agent, that is really where I get to shine. I mean, do my favorite things and, support our amazing agents. So anywhere from education, offering, CEs to coaching, training, bringing in the locker room and, for the Remax brand in general, we're a little unique because we do promote and encourage new agents, to grow. And so it's been a great resource for them so that we can bring them in and on their own timing, do kind of a plug and play, but also do, lead type of trainings and coaching. So I run our company breakfast 3 times a year. So that's always a good time for us. And yeah, that's a little bit about what I do.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And so if this is our first time hanging out, my name is obviously Jake, founder and CEO of The Locker Room. I'm getting ready to launch another business called The Coach's Brokerage, co-founder in the Locker Room Leadership and Coaching Academy with my friend and business partner, Kit. So I got restless leg, man. My leg's always going like this. I can't sit still, right? You know who you are. But just obsessively, unapologetically passionate about serving people the same way Joanna described. And a lot of our business on the Locker Room side specializes in coaching and consulting leaders in real estate, broker owners, career development, directors, and so on and so forth. And then we do a lot of training for the agents, specifically the mighty middle and or brand new dual career agents. That's really some of our areas of specialty, if you will. So excited to be here. Love doing this show, like I said, with great leaders. So before we dive into the official questions, just give us a glimpse. This is your time, from the brokerage point of view. Like, what are some of your goals that you're really excited about going into 2026 here? And if you could wave a magic wand and paint that ideal agent, what would that look like? So two different questions. Take it where you want to take it.
Okay, well, so I want to start off first because every year we do a word of the year. And last year it was connection, and we really played into that, like how we led our organization. But also this year we talked about alignment a lot. And to us, that became like, are we embracing our true core values? And how do we become very, very focused in that just being our mission for absolutely everything? Like, are we in alignment with our staff, which luckily we are? Are we in alignment with our agents? Are we in alignment with our goals? Are we in alignment with our partners, our community? And so we tend to have that drive us and our intentions. And so, with that being said, like goals, I look at things always from a growth perspective. In fact, my title used to be Director of Growth. And so that word has a lot of meaning to me as well. And so I always look at it like, how can we balance like maintaining and growing? And, one of the things I want to talk to you about too is like, I'm getting off track a little bit, but it was just about like keeping focus, but also being like driven and inspired all the time. So, as far as agents go, we had many years that we had like our retention was 100%. And so, I think as the last few years changed and COVID changed, how, maybe real estate agents got in and it seemed very easy. We've seen just some changes in that factor. But, I like to look at growth of 10%. So for our 300, I'm looking at, plus 30. I'm always looking as well as, that should then align with a transaction count. So if we can be upwards of that 4,800 transactions annually, and then, that should bring us another 105 million in annual sales. So that's kind of what I look for as far as, our goals for that. But then again, they all come back to, does it serve our core alignment? Mm-hmm. And so that's actually what leads us more than the numbers. We believe if we're serving in this space, that happens. And we're also insanely organic, like incredibly organic. I've been in other organizations that are all lead just strategically, like it's all just boom, boom, boom. And we just come from a very organic space where we do that. Ideal agent, ideal agent to me is anyone that comes, that's learning based, that has that spark and that drive. It doesn't have to necessarily be like they answer all the perfect real estate, like why do you want to be a real estate agent questions, but just in their life, I try to get back into other things, like how they've shown up and, where that can come from, because I just met so many cool people in my years that maybe didn't check the boxes, but had that internal flame, and they are unstoppable. So I'm always looking for that little piece.
I love that. There's so much. That's not even one of my questions. That doesn't even count. And there was so much there to unpack. So alignment.
Well, we just unpack all that then.
Yeah, no, it's great. Alignment, purposeful growth, double digit, reasonable with the right people, year over year compound growth. Um, those who have that hunger, that fire in the belly, they're learning based. I mean, there's so much there. I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm just recapping as you're firing
Yeah.
those things off. There's like, man, who wouldn't want to work at a place like that? Be surrounded by that type of people. So, okay, very good. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Okay, sure. What's up?
You getting a little sweaty palm over there? No.
I know. I speak all the like. I actually get paid to speak and share my thoughts and feelings, and now I'm nervous.
Well, good. You should be. No, I'm just kidding. The goal here isn't to stump people. We're just, it's a little fun with people watching live. So, all right, here's my very first question to you. My very first question is this. It's one of my favorites that I ask leaders.
Okay.
Let's pretend for a hot second that I'm in the Des Moines, Iowa area, and I'm an agent. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I'm loosely looking around, exploring what options are out there. Here's what I want to know. What would you say is your unique value proposition as to why an agent like me should consider joining Remax Precision without, by the way, disparaging and whatever anybody else, which you don't do anyway. So that's my
Absolutely. Okay, so absolutely not. One, I would just like to touch on that a minute, because if I have a long story, I won't get into it, but if you use any gesture in displacing another organization in your conversations, like, I think that to me is a big turnoff. And so I never come from that perspective, but what I come at is I really look at it. I actually talked very little about our company for a while, because I'm actually, they think they're interviewing us, which they are, but I'm interviewing them. Like, if I don't know you, Jake, I would want to hire you. Okay, so let's just get that out there. But if I don't necessarily know you, I need to know who you are. And so I spend a lot of time more in the coaching space at that beginning, where I'm asking them, who are you and what are you looking for? Like, the biggest thing also, especially if somebody is an agent that has been selling, is that, well, what are your pain points? Like, what are you experiencing? And why are you considering making a move? And then if they share those things with me, I can hone into, can I help and support that? Because the truth is if I can't make what they think their life needs to be better, if I can't actually make that better, then I'm setting myself up for some kind of failure. And so I turn that initial time into really just a coaching session. Like, well, tell me what your goals are. What do you need? Or what do you feel like is missing from your business now, or your organization now? What does that mean? What would it mean to you? And so when I know those things, I can help fill that in with what we naturally do and how I naturally work with agents. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's just spirit driven. Like, maybe their flame has gone out and they just need to be rebooted. So we talk about all those other things. The other thing that I do is I really get very analytical, and this is something you and I share some space in, on how to get real serious with agents on goals. And I look at goals from different perspectives. So I actually do what I call the 4 quadrants. And I'm like, what are your goals in your career? What are your goals in your finances? And then what are 2 areas of your life, right, that you want to make, a highlight. But then I take the financial piece. I'm like, well, what do you want from this? Like, right? If anyone says to me, oh, I don't care about how much money I make, to me, that's a red flag. And I respond to them and I say, perfect. You know what? I love it that you're not necessarily financially driven, but let's say you could give all this money to your favorite charity. How much do you want to give? And how do you want to make an impact in that way? And so I actually walk them through formulas about how to set the goals and what those mean and how they can adjust. And that to me always builds that unique relationship. Most of the time, they're like, nobody else has ever asked me what I want, how I'm doing my business, what I could improve. No one ever spends that time and has those conversations. So usually that for me is really where I can learn, are they a fit for us? Is there something that I think either our systems and tools can improve in their business, or is there something that I do that I think I can help to improve where they're at? And that's kind of how I lead recruitment. And how I find out if we're a fit. And I lead it with that. We talk about our scripts that we use in buyer consults and listing consults, and right, it's walking them through the path to get to the end to determine if we can, match up our results. And I tell them that, like, hey, look, like, we're going to decide if this is a mutually a good, I do this weird hand thing, like, we're going to decide if this is a mutual fit for us, at this time. And if it is, great. If it isn't, great. I also talk about, design and focus. If your goal is to do 1 or 2 deals a year, we're not it.
Right.
So that usually, when I tell them we may not be a good fit, and if their goals aren't bigger, we're not typically the best option for them. I almost feel like sometimes I'm like, we're not a fit. And they're like, we are a fit. Like, we will be a fit. I will find a way to be a fit. And so, I don't know. I feel like I just draw more out of them maybe than the typical interview.
Well, what I love about everything you just said is it's consistent with the word that you shared earlier, which is aligned. It's placing alignment above all else. And to repeat back, essentially what I heard is you almost flipped the script on me, which I like. I asked you what's your unique value proposition and why an agent like me hypothetically should consider. And what you did in reverse is say, whoa, Bucko, I'm not even going to give you answers. What I'm actually going to do, my approach, is to take more of a consultative approach, and I'm going to ask them questions. I'm not going to tell like most brokerages do, right? Let me PowerPoint you to death and, verbally vomit all these bells and whistles and features and benefits. Instead, you take time like a doctor and ask questions. What's going on? Let's peek under the hood. So then in turn, you can be prescriptive and figure out if we can authentically help based on this, and this that you said. Here's how we're going to deliver transformation. So I just love everything you said. Yeah.
Rarely do one interview. So I usually send them with homework. And I will say, well, okay, so I think this is good. And I think this is worthy of an additional, conversation. And so I might say, okay, you know what, let's meet the beginning of next week. And I want you to bring me like whatever their topic is that would make sense. Because I also feel that if they don't show up at this state, everybody says, well, I want something different, or I want growth, or I want this, but maybe they won't necessarily do that. And so I'm always thinking like, okay, well, let's talk about this. So I want you to go home and think about what we talked about, and then let's bring back and have a conversation around that. I also think that it's unique in our industry because they might think that we just take everyone.
Yeah.
And we do not.
Yeah.
Take everyone. And it may not be that they're bad agents or people, but there was just something maybe in that alignment that wasn't quite fitting. And so, I mean, I even recently said to someone, it sounds to me like this might be a better route for you. And, but I mean that genuinely, and I mean that. And usually I cross paths with these people down the road at some point in time as well.
Well, it's the ultimate form of abundance. It's not a popularity contest or good or bad. It's just aligned, right? Again. And mind you, I think a lot of brokers who might be listening to this right now, leaders, should take note of that. You said earlier, oh, by the way, we've got 300 plus agents, and you still take this abundant approach, prescriptive approach of saying, we're not a good fit, or if we are, here's how. So yeah. I love it. All right. Over to you for the question numero uno for me. Bring it on.
Ooh, well, this is so fun. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
And you touched on this a little bit earlier because, right, we understand, right? You've got your top 20%, right, that are probably in their groove and doing things that I always think those people have different sets of things that they might be challenged with or working on. But then we have this middle 60, right? And the impact, or in coaching, we are all, I don't know, I'm like always like, how do we connect? I've got like the programs drawn out for how we work with maybe the newer type agents. But Jake, what's your advice on engaging agents that are already very independent thinkers, but getting them to understand the value of coaching and training?
Ooh.
Or even just taking the time to like be reflective on their business and their intentions.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, that's a big question. How do I, even at scale, at mass, with 300 agents, the immediate response from a leader could be, oh my, that's a lot of people. How am I going to reach in and connect with each one of them? You just divide and conquer. You do it anyways. You chunk it down just like we would coach an agent to chunk down their goals. And so let's say in your example, you got 300 agents, 150 of which are kind of that mighty middle that you're describing. Not the top, not the new, lesser experience, but right there smack dab in the middle. I have found, this is not going to shock anybody, but I have found that the one-to-one outreach is that they don't need more emails, internal drip campaigns. They don't need more text reminders of how the next training is the latest and greatest thing and you got to be there. I have found especially to be true with that mighty middle group that they spell love just like children, which is Time. They want to hear from you. They want to spend time with you. And they crave recognition because they're kind of squeezed in the middle. That new agent's getting all the love and time with the onboarding team and stuff like that, and the top 20% who's doing majority of the production is getting all the kudos and recognition at every team meeting, and their face is slapped up on the wall. So it can really easily become the forgotten ones that actually represent the bulk of your revenue if you're not careful. And so I guess what I'm ultimately saying is, number one, it's the little things. People don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. We all know this. So it's that just because call. As you're driving, turn off the radio and have that roster of agents that you can say, ring, ring. Hey, Joanna, it's Jake. Listen, I'm driving in between appointments. I just was thinking about you. I want to ask, what can I do today to best support your business? I'm telling you, stuff like that goes so far. It's that little note that you drop in their mailbox or whatever, it is in your unique situations, those little gentle nudges that say, I see you, I value you, I hear you. And to your other point or question really, which is how to get them to understand the value of coaching, that was very specific. Or maybe engaging in more things like that to get to the point of value in coaching. Here's what I learned to do after doing it the wrong way enough times. Instead of throwing spaghetti against the wall, assuming that, well, every agent who's in this mighty middle struggles with time management, lead gen, systems, which is largely true. But instead of just blasting them with that, I would take the time, and reach out and say, hey, Joanna, I'm in the middle of planning my April training calendar right now. Really want to know, just hypothetically, if there was one training that I could make happen for you in the month of April, and it would make all the difference in the world for you and your business. And if I made it happen, you would promise me that you would move heaven and earth to be there. What training would that be and why? And here's what's cool. You do that question enough times through the roster of agents, they feel heard again, but also you think of the case, it's like a focus group. Think of all the data you've got. Now I can go sift through and see all the patterns of what the majority are wanting and build my training calendar off of the things that they said they want, not what I thought was best. Mm-hmm. So did I even answer your question?
Okay, so I love that. And I'm taking notes while we're talking because I don't want to forget. I love the little things, and you're so right. So I also manage a little over 100 of the agents, and that's really it. Like they don't have to want to be more.
Right.
It's not the point, right? It's not like, because after you reset the question, I'm like, okay, they don't have to want to be more or do more, because I think success can look different for everyone, but still be success. But I think you're right. It's also about just that I see you as a very important term in my world. And it's come up so much lately. And so when you said that, I'm like, that is the key. That's just it, is that I see you. What do you need? I'm here late all the time. And I have agents that come in late. And so I was leaving one night and I was visiting with one of our agents and I'm like, how are you? And they're talking and we got to just chit-chatting a little bit. And I was like, well, how are things going? And what do you have going on? And he said, I want to do a new agent seminar. or I'm sorry, like a new buyer seminar. And I'm like, well, okay, well, when are you going to do it? What do you need to do that? And he told me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put some thoughts together and send that to you tomorrow. And then you need to pick the date.
Yep.
It's like, I'm so glad we crossed paths, because it was just, he had an idea that he wanted to do. And it's just about like, well, let's talk about it. What do you need to make that happen? And his wife was a lender. And I'm like, this is perfect. Like, I mean, so it's just those things. And I also, like, you mentioned something about bombarding people. We do not email. So like if I emailed you, there must be something majorly going on, but we use in our company, like our broker does one email a week. We call it What's Up Wednesday. And it's like, when you join us, we're like, for information, you go to What's Up Wednesday and you go to our pipeline. So our private Facebook group, like, I'm not going to send you a couple emails a day with my thoughts and have our other leadership do that. So we try to keep that noise to a minimum, because I know my inbox gets pretty full throughout the day. So,
well, last comment, and I'm going to ask you my next question, but you just said the word noise, and it is noisy. Our industry is noisy. The world is noisy right now. And when it's noisy, which is like all the time, then in my opinion, you lean back to fundamental truths. And I'll credit Tony Robbins with this, because he talks about the 6 human needs. Well, one of the 6 human needs is connection. And a lot of people right now are saying, well, how is our industry going to change? How is the world going to change, let's say, a year from now? And I recently read something by Jeff Bezos. He said, I hate when people ask me, what do you think your company's going to look like in 3-5 years? He's like, dude, I hate that question. And it made me feel good, because I've always hated it too. And he's like, no, none of us know. I can have a vision. I think that's important, but we don't know. Instead, he focuses it, or reframes the question of, all right, it's not what do I think the future is going to look like? What are the fundamental truths that I think won't change a year from now? People still connect with people, regardless of AI. Like, what is not going to change versus trying to anticipate only what will change? And I just love that little approach, and everything you said speaks to that. So,
yeah, I agree.
Sweet. All right. Question 2. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. My second question is, now I sound like a hypocrite. Well, whatever. Take that crystal ball out, though. Look 3 to 5 years in the future. What advice would you give to real estate agents right now so they can remain relevant and at the center of the transaction, the center of the relationship, no matter what changes do come our way with AI and whatever else? So what would you coach to or give them advice to now so they stay relevant and keep the relationship?
So probably my instinct for that is that you have to be able to acknowledge and describe what it is you do at a super high level. So for example, when all these changes were coming, down a few years ago, talking about the buyer brokerage agreements and things, I've used them for years, and taught on them for, a decade. So I'm a big believer in, like, this was a good thing for our market, right? Because the few people that used them, right, most people didn't. So I said, the one who can tell the story best wins. And I just think that is what's true in our industry, right? If you're quiet about what it is you do and your passion and your intention for the consumer, then it won't get heard right. And so it's be diligent. Like, what do you do? Be able to describe that. Figure out your unique proposition value and like manifest, things within that. I think of our agents, and, we have teams that are driven on, a concept, and it's like, well, make sure that that's your voice and that's what you're describing for people. So when I think about 3 to 5 years down the road, I also come into like systems, right? And I'm not naturally a systems person, like, by nature. Like, I was kind of that free spirit and that free flowing, but and being in this industry so long, and then being really in that training and coaching space for as long as I have, it's like, If you do something more than twice, right, you should have a process around it. And so getting clear on that, because what happens is if we've got the process nailed down and the systems nailed down, we can grow and without it getting awkward. And so that's probably, when I think about it, is know your story and share it, and consistently be working on your systems, because then growth can happen and increase, and you can pivot, not recreate, right, down the road. So I don't have a fear at all, Jake, that we're going to be eliminated, because I think our world is craving exactly what, I mean, we could have called this talk connection, being connection based and relationship based, because I still think that as people, the best people that I know in this business have built their businesses around that solid way of how they're going to connect. Like I tell people, I don't care. I mean, have your 3 to 5 lead gen, methods, but like, I don't care what you do. I'm not a person that says you must do this, exactly this. It's like, what are you going to do? Pick the 3 to 5 things you're going to do, and how are you going to use that to connect?
Yep. I just made a Facebook post in our Locker Room Nation group this morning. Like, I wanted to say it, but I framed it in the form of a question instead, so it wasn't like an accusation. But basically, what I want to say is some of y'all are out there talking to ChatGPT every day, which is really talking to yourself, more than you're actually talking to folks in your database or in your community. Like, let's not lose sight of the human element of this, the relationship itself, which is what will keep us at the center of everything. If not, we're going to work ourselves. Somebody smart out there will figure out a way to replace us. So I'm not saying it won't or couldn't happen, but it won't, as long as we do our part and keep the relationship the main thing. Last thing I heard you say, it reminded me of a quote from Simon Sinek, which was, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. You kind of hit on that a little bit in the start of your answer. Yes, it's important to describe and articulate your unique value proposition, the what, all day long. I'm with you on that. But is that enough? Or is it telling that story, coupling it with the story element that you shared, which is really the why behind what you do? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Do you know why you do it?
You probably taught me this. If I thought back, you probably actually taught me this, is that, I've had agents come and sit I have a couch in my office, which I assume it was in my office when I acquired the office, but
like a therapy couch,
I call it, like, this can also be therapy. So just take it, go ahead and lay down. But they came to me and they were like, I don't know why I do this. Like, I mean, I don't even know. And I'm like, ooh, that's a rough place to be in, because I've been in times in my life where I haven't felt connected to what I'm doing. And it's like, ooh, a scary ride. And I said, you know what, this is perfect. You're going to come in and you're going to go to therapy, and you're going to lay on the couch, and I'm going to film you. And I'm going to ask you questions. And then you're going to listen back to what you said, because somewhere in there is why you do what you do. And then I I catch myself, because I'm like, oh, I don't know where this is going to go, but like, wait, this is their session. It's for them, And every time I've used that, they are telling me this amazing story about who they are and why they do what they do. And then but I can't tell them. They have to hear it back. Yeah. So I will say, you've got it. I don't talk about it. I say, you go listen back, and then you call me. And they are like, their whole dynamic changes. And I'm like, there we have it, right? We've combined what we do with who we are. And when that connects,
it's studying the game film.
That's everything just comes together.
I always have a baseball in my hand. So if you were my baseball coach, you could say, Jake, no, your mechanics are off, man. You got to do this. Your arm's doing this. Okay. I conceptually, I understand, and I'll try. But if you said, actually, let me show you, and you got the video camera out and then pop that sucker in so I can watch myself in slow-mo, that lands differently. And that's exactly what you're saying. Once they hear their own audio, the video will start matching the audio.
Yeah, we all want somebody to tell us what to do, right? Like just fix me or just cure it. It's like, no, you get to do that. I mean, that it's actually inside you. So
Yeah, it's good. Deep thoughts. My goodness. What day is today? Thursday? Deep thoughts on a Thursday. Okay. All right. Over to you. Second one. You and I
okay.
can do this for hours. So
I know, like laughing. I did have to think of, I thought of some questions. Okay. Um, who do you collaborate with, or how should leaders collaborate on a regular basis to continually fill your own cup, your connection cup? So think about it, Jake. You are like who do you go to? Who are your people?
okay.
When you need to sort things out, like you joked about Chat GPT and you having conversations with yourself. I'm like, hey, I just had a coaching session. And they're like, oh, you did? Who was? I'm like, yeah, I was talking to myself today. But like, who do you reach out to in your world when you want to have ideas? Who are your people?
Okay. I'm writing because thoughts are hitting me right now. So, um, who do I personally reach out to without naming names? I'll share like my philosophical or literal, I guess, answer to that question. I see it this way. A lot of people are sometimes caught between, well, do I need a mentor? Do I need a coach? What do I need? Like abundantly speaking, it's yes, like yes, and it's not an either or equation. So I break it down to kind of 5 different roles in my world. And I'm not always perfect, but here's how I see it. Okay. Number one, who's my mentor? I have one. He knows who he is. I have a mentor, different role, different person for a different reason. Number two, coach. I just hired a new coach for myself. If he's watching this, he knows who he is. 2 different people for 2 different buckets and reasons. 3, personal board of directors. So a lot of them that I consider my personal board of directors, obviously my significant other is part of that list. Like I run decisions, I seek feedback from this personal board of directors, but it's a lot of my current coaches too with the locker room. I seek their and value their feedback, their perspectives, that I'm gathering all of this so I can make the right decision. The fourth person, an accountability partner, different from a coach, different from a mentor, different from a personal board of directors. Who's my accountability buddy? That if I say I'm going to do something and I don't, they're going to call me out on that, and vice versa. And then the fifth one is the community, the network. And I'd like to think for a minute, Joanna, you're a part of that. I don't get the luxury to not show up with my A game every day because leaders like you demand it from me. You expect it from me. And the minute I take that for granted, I've lost all privileges. And so to me, I break it down into those 5 distinct groups and diversify my portfolio of people who play those different roles in my life for different reasons. And so if there's anything I just said, I guess to hold the mirror up, if you're a leader watching this right now, who are filling these roles in your life? That's where I would start. And I'll finally say this, just an opinion more than anything, but I really believe it's true. There's this question going on out right now in all these different Facebook groups and influencers. It's something to the effect of like, uh, what are your thoughts? Like AI, no, brokerages won't exist in the future. It will only be led by teams or teams that use AI. It's like this provocative kind of thing just to get comments and whatever. And I generally don't participate in those things just because I don't have time and it's stupid. But I did on one person's post. And I just put, nope. And she asked me to expand and elaborate. And so all I put back was, I believe the future, there's a place for them all, but I believe the future will be controlled in our business environment by those who have leaders that are expert community builders. I really believe this. So artificial intelligence and all the tools and shiny, of course, go for it. But I believe really, truly, those who are going to win and win at a high level are really good at building community, regardless of what happens with the rest. So that is why that also shows up on my list here. What community, what network, what mastermind group or something are you involved in to surround yourself with others who value that space and community of collaboration? So
No, I love that. And, that's just, I think, I feel sometimes in leadership, so whatever form, whether you're the broker, whether you're the owner, or you have to wear different roles, is that, sometimes we aren't really intentionally, right? Like filling our cup and figuring out where that support is. And I loved how you broke it down, because it's like, that is not one person.
No.
That is, I mean, I think like, oh, I need my, my controller to help the number part or things. But that it isn't one person's responsibility to fill those things. So I love that. I wrote those things down.
Yeah, no, it's worked great. And again, I'm not right now, I've got all of that, but in different seasons of life, I might lose one or two and I've got to backfill them. But right now I'm looking at this list. I'm like, I'm executing at that at a very high level right now. And it's showing up in my accountability. It's showing up in my attitude. It's showing up in my performance. It's showing up in my focus. It's showing up in my calendar. I'm at my best when I have those 5 areas really clear. So.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'm on my third and final question for you.
Okay.
All right. Here it is. It's a little introspective, kind of vulnerable, if you will. So get ready. Looking back and knowing what you know now, right? Everything's in hindsight. What's a mistake or a couple examples of mistakes or pitfalls maybe that you've had to overcome during your 28-year journey here in this industry? And follow up to that, if you can think of one or two specifics, what lesson did you learn and how has it shaped who you are today?
Okay. Well, I hate vulnerability. Myself, like I have been a lot of my own struggles, I think that that's just the key, is that we have to get really, really serious about like who we are. I think, I always say, tell the truth faster. And so one of the pitfalls was me. Like I created my own obstacles, my own negative thinking, not how that influences us. And so I think that, has been it. When I look back at, becoming an agent and wow, the things that I didn't learn until the second half of my career that could have just made everything, I don't know. What if I would have known then what I know now, kind of things. But I definitely have stood in my own way more than once in my career. And I'm sorry, what was the second part?
I was going to build off that. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm popping back in here. And I think that's where you're going next is, okay, that's very fair, very honest, very vulnerable answer, and true if we're all being, honest with ourselves. So, all right. So you standing in your way, what have you therefore learned about yourself? The lessons you've gathered from that reflection, and how has it shaped the leader and person you are today?
Well, so I guess the alternative to that is the conquer. So I have like 100% success rate when I manifest things, when I get very clear on my intentions, on my purpose, on my mission, that I literally can create it to happen exactly how I think it could be or should be. And so I giggle sometimes because I'm like, why don't I do that with everything, right? Like, why doesn't it just become the everything? But so I think that like the figuring out that like I probably stood in my own way a lot as an agent, even, as I got into the training world, where, fear became huge, and, getting up and speaking in front of people, which is probably like what I would say is like my life's mission. But the connection part of that, not just getting up, and being able to deliver, but, the connection piece to that. And so, yeah, I think that, for me, like just overcoming that, like teaching myself that how I think, right, influences who I am, and then dream a little bit. Like I have a book that my mom gave me, and this, but my mom recently passed, and she gave me this book that says, trust your crazy ideas. And I'm like, Yeah. So at times I feel like that I may resurface because I'm a human being, right? We all are. We all have other tendencies that we reflect on. But when I maybe lose my focus or need to regroup, I go back and I'm like, if I could make this all from scratch, like what would it look like? And then I just have to put it all in motion and, figure those things out. So I'm not sure if that really answered your question.
I'm gonna repeat back what I think I heard there, because this is important. This is big time stuff right here. Essentially, what I think you said is the lesson that you've grabbed from all of that reflection is to pay attention to your thoughts, be in control of your own mind. It's mindset. Every morning I get to set my mind. It's a choice. Now, I can't control the thoughts, the first thought, for example, as they say, that comes into my mind, but I can control the second and how I respond. So to everybody out there, are you reacting or are you responding? Are you reacting or are you responding? Know the difference between the two. And the other thing I wrote down, in the spirit of books you're sharing, I haven't heard or read that one, so I will check that out. Thank you for the suggestion. Is the untethered?
Okay, I think it's a little bit more of a picture book, so it's a quick read, but it's just.
I like pictures.
Yeah.
My attention span can handle that.
Yeah, it's like little split. It's not like a read, but it's just that whole I have had some crazy ideas. Like I'm always, for me, I'm trying to always balance out a little bit of like being routined.
Yeah.
And that's a question that I have for you, is like being routined, but like not getting bored.
Oh, that's a big one for me. Is that you can't ask me that yet if that's your next question.
Okay, I won't. But like I feel like I have to be reflective of these crazy ideas. But I also know people that are just constant crazy ideas, right? Or in leadership. Like in leadership with companies, if you've been around people that every morning is a new implementation of some crazy idea or format, it's exhausting. And you never get any results because you're constantly like creating. And I can't do that. But I also can't do everything is routined and the same over and over and over again. So I think that as far as leadership goes, or even in my own organization, like I need the people that are the steady eddies. Like I need those people around me because I'm tend to be a little bit, more wild, but it's like, but I
part
also
of your personal board of directors to balance out.
Exactly. But we have to grow and we have to have ideas. We can't do them all. We use our goal planning. We use our 1-3-5 and we say things like, okay, so what 3 things am I going to work on and how am I going to grow? And where's my crazy idea coming from? I built a magazine for us. I was like, we want something different. We published our own, buyer and seller guide magazine that our agents can have, for free and use in their things. So like, I have to constantly be having something new that I'm working on. But
I get it. I get it. It's an entrepreneur's curse, blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
So I'm down for picture books. That works. But if anybody wants a read, then check out The Untethered Soul as it relates to what Joanna would just, yep. It is so good. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but gist of it is we are not our thoughts. We are the observer of our thoughts. But if you're struggling right now with mindset, you're feeling a little bit down, or you got that imposter syndrome thing, give that one a read. I promise you it'll speak to you. So, all right. I think we're good there. So you've got one more for me, right?
Okay. Well, so I did segue into that, but do you ever get bored?
What was it?
What do you do about it?
Repeat.
So when you get bored, what do you do about it?
I have the opposite. Oh, hang on. You're talking.
Sorry. Because it's like my whole conversation before this leads up to that, right? How do you balance, right, the steady things that you do in your business and then with the how you create and get yourself out of boredom?
That is such a great question, first of all, and so relevant. I think number one, let's peel it back a minute. You must know thyself first. So whether that's through a DISC assessment or whatever crazy strengths finder is a great one. There's a million of them out there. Take all of them that you can, because each one will show something about the real you, not the fake you, not the I got to show up and pretend you, the real you, how you're wired, and unapologetically just own it. So it's been a journey on that. Number one, getting to know myself, especially when that evolves over time. Now I know, for example, those of you familiar with the DISC, I am a high DI personality. And so I'm not going to get into that, but one of the characteristics of that is I get shaky leg because I get bored really easy. I crave variety and I want results like now o'clock. And that can be great as an activator and somebody driving results and growing and scaling businesses. However, to what you said, people, my wife, people on my staff historically, I've driven them flipping nuts because I am that guy who has the 3 a.m. idea, the shower idea, the driving in the car random idea, and 90% of them are stupid and never let that leave your mouth again, Jake. But I can't shut that thing off. And so, what they literally did for me with that is our internal communication is done through Slack. Anybody familiar with Slack? So there's a whole Slack channel dedicated to Jake's brainstorm ideas, just so I can have a place to dump them. And if they want to read them, they can. If not, whatever, but I can get it out. So long-winded answer, but I have the opposite problem. I have too many ideas and not enough capacity, and I have to work really hard. It's not like a ADD thing. But I have to work really hard to channel that the right way. Otherwise, it is detrimental to progress and your team, and you leave a wake of destruction in your path. On the alternative side, it does not come natural to me to be a systems guy. I have a 4% C personality. But I am learning to love and marry the process just as much as the result. And this is a conscious learning effort. We can change, people. Okay. And I am becoming more and more and more happy, satisfied, okay with the boredom that is often associated with mastery. Actually, I won't say right now, but in the past, when we've been at our peak, it was boring. There wasn't anything new. I didn't need to go create and tinker and do something. It just let it be. Just let it be. It's a good thing if it's kind of boring and just repetitious, but things are working. That's a good thing. Leave it alone. It's no mistake that right now, to scratch that entrepreneurial itch, I am launching a new vertical called the Coach's Brokerage. That was not by accident, because right now, locker room is good. We're humming along. We got things and systems dialed in. Don't jack with it, Jake. But I can't apologize for that other piece of me that wants to do stuff and create. I'm just going over here and doing that somewhere else versus trying to jack with the baby we've birthed for the last 10 years. I hope this makes sense. Just that's what I would say. I think back to your question.
Yeah, I love that response, Jake. And you've been a mentor to me, throughout time. And I think as, broker owners, leaders, like if you are the one driven to keeping your eye right, keep being steady, have people in your life and in your circle that are the crazy idea people, right? 100%. Now structure. So one of the examples that I use with agents all the time, and as you're talking, I'm like, I do this, like I teach people this, like I need to start remembering when I talk about it. It's like, I tell people as an example, like take a wall, right? Take your wall and do the chalkboard, paint on it or whatever, or a big whiteboard and put all your ideas on it. So that could be a notebook, that could be something else, but like just have a place that those 3 a.m. wake ups and you're like, oh, I've got this idea, right? Because I never remember them all the next day and things, but it's like get all your crazy ideas and put them somewhere.
That's right.
But then you've got to pull them off.
That's right.
And sort them, right? And I use the 1-3-5 for that. You bring 3 of them out and talk about them and use your circle of people to help you analyze them and see, and then pick one of them and figure it out and do it. Yep. and then go back to your big wall of crazy ideas, because I think we either are stuck in this place where we're trying to do them all and then nothing happens, right? And it's insane. Or in brokerages, because I'm sure we all know brokerages in our areas that didn't pivot at all.
That's right. Yeah, it's
and
a
they're
fine
not
line, isn't it?
thriving. And so it's like we're finding that balance. So if you're naturally inclined, like I probably sit on the side of not too much, and maybe I've learned that through my experiences being around people that are always right, where we never execute because we're always in these creative moments. But in saying like we have to keep an eye too on adventure and on creativity and on thinking outside the box, because if we wait too long, we miss the pivot, and then we're not.
My number one strength from the Strengths Finder assessment, anybody familiar with this, is futuristic. So I know that about myself. I live in the future. My brain operates in the future. The future is what gives me energy and excites me, right? And so that can be a really tricky place. And what I've again learned to do is now when I have this vision, this thought, this idea of what could be, I have learned to keep that tight or just within a very tight circle. Whereas before I would just blurt it out and overshare. And that's what created this frenzy of, oh my God, here goes Jake again. So I've learned to temper that down. And here's what we did. More for me than my other teammates, I created a proposal document where now if I vetted it in my mind, maybe I've shared it with one or two people close to me kind of thing, and they are like, that's pretty good. Then I would take it and fill out this proposal document to present to my team in a more clear, concise, present it as done manner. I can't expect to enroll them into my idea when it's moving a million miles an hour and they were just getting settled on the last initiative. So I've had to just kind of learn my process for myself before enrolling other people into this wild new idea.
Yeah, that makes me laugh because the owner of our organization, I always think he's cringing every time I'm like, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And he's like, here we go. He says he appreciates it, but I also come with a solution to it. I think that's the step that I've learned, is to have the idea, but figure out some solution to it before you get too many, or, some opportunities to solve before you get too many other people wrapped up in it.
This has been really good. We're not quite done yet. I want to do a quick rapid fire round with you, but have you had fun? Has this been good for you?
It has been.
You've had some great questions. I will say you put me on edge a couple of times. And if you're watching this live or the replay and you're getting value, let us know. Let Joanna know what you've gotten from anything she shared. That really helps and lets us know we were able to connect with all of you. So I've just got a few just random, quick, rapid fire questions before we wrap up. Is that cool?
Sure.
These are just fun little off the wall things. Okay, so number one, ready, set, go. What is your favorite movie?
Moneyball.
Oh, good question, or good answer. Did you know the year I got drafted out of high school was the same year of Moneyball?
Oh, funny.
By the Oakland A's. 2001 by the Oakland A's is when I first got drafted.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I know I'm super weird because I'm not an athlete, but I love sports movies, and that one combines kind of like just like if we broke it down, like right, it's sports driven, but it's also like right, like really like Billy's finding his his light and his way, and what makes it make sense. I just I love it. I mean, it's probably gonna be that or Mary Poppins. Like I'm not sure. Like I'm okay.
Tough. Yeah, there you go. All right. What is a unique talent, or it could maybe just a random fun fact about yourself that maybe not everybody knows about?
Oh wow, I was grand champion market swine in 4-H.
What market swine? What is that?
Like I showed pigs when I was younger.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah, probably not.
I'm a tanickler.
You what?
Do you know what that is?
No.
Tanickling?
I don't know. The hell is that?
So Oh my gosh, this is so funny. It took me back to like when I was 11. So I don't know, there must be some symbol there that these questions are both, because my showing pigs was when I was 11 and to nickling. So it's like it's bamboo like poles that you kind of tap and kind of do little dances in between.
Oh, I'm
You
gonna have
look
to
it
look
up.
it up
Look it
now.
up.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that'll be.
If you have video, you must send it to me. Okay.
I don't, but it was really big where I grew up. That when you were in 5th grade, that you got to go to nickel at the basketball championships, like at the state basketball thing. So you were like the halftime show.
Who knew? Okay, that's a good. All right, you're
Okay,
passing.
that's weird. You're all like, where do you, Iowa? It
No,
was
I've just
Iowa.
never heard that term. I know I've never heard that word in my life.
I can also twirl a basketball on a pole while I'm doing it, but that's a whole nother story.
Wow. Many talents over there. Many talents. All right, I've got 2 more for you just for fun.
Okay, I'm scared now.
Favorite vacation and why? Favorite vacation spot?
Okay, this is supposed to be rapid fire. This is hard for me. I've always joked that my favorite vacation was in my 20s to Las Vegas with a couple of girlfriends, because we thought everything was going to be comped. So we like, and that's back when Vegas was not as expensive as it is now, but like we thought everything was going to be comp. So like we got massages at the pool and we got food and drinks the whole 4 or 5
You're
days we
thinking
were
all
there.
inclusive when you say comp, you thought it was like all inclusive?
We thought that it was going to be comped. I mean, we knew it wasn't all inclusive, but we were told that like everything would be like, you know, our friend like knows the people and it would all be taken care of. And then we checked out and it was not.
Ouch.
But it was fun to live that few days thinking that, this is what I'd do if I could do anything.
What happens in Vegas? There you go. All right, give me if you can think of it, one like real estate blooper, maybe like the strangest thing that's happened to you in real estate, showing or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it is showing related. I guess off the top of my head, I showed the wrong property once to some clients. It was when I was in Scottsdale, and it was a townhome community. So you know, you like pull up and you can't find any of them, right? You finally find the right number building and all that kind of stuff, and pull in. And there's the lockbox, and so we went in and showed the house, and I'm like, I don't see the other bedroom anywhere. And I'm like, okay. And so I pull it up on my phone and I'm like, this decor isn't like this picture. And I am like, oh my gosh. I always believe in owning all my bloopers. Like, I think I'm hysterical, so I've got to share this with other people. I was like, oh my heaven's sakes, like we are in the wrong property. Like, okay, we need to get out. Like, thank goodness, right? People, frightens me for safety these days that something like that could happen. But there was no sign. One, agents, if it's not listed anymore, pick up your lockbox.
Fair.
Or maybe it was, I can't remember. Maybe it was listed and it was just not the one I was supposed to be at. But yeah, I'm like, we've got to get out of here, like right now.
Yeah, that's a little embarrassing, but at least you owned it, and that's the right.
I own it. I fear.
That's good. I love it. Well, hey, again, this has been fun. I know we're at the top of the hour here. This is just a blast, and so thank you. This is round 19, Broker Showdown. Last thing, if somebody watching this, heck, maybe even like my first question, an agent in your area that wants to talk, or a fellow leader that wants to just mastermind with you, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you? Whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Absolutely. It's Joanna at precisiondsm.com.
Okay. Joanna at precisiondsm.com.
Yep.
Perfect. Email her. Just if nothing else, other than
if you want to brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorm. Let her know what you got from this. But again, thank you for your time and wisdom and willingness to just kind of have fun with me today. This is a lot of fun. And
awesome.
We'll do it again sometime. You're very welcome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Round 19. That's a wrap. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.